All right. Hello. I'm gonna give y'all a couple of moments. Happy Monday. Okay, making sure it's connecting properly. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it when it works so smoothly. So I have the chat ready for y'all in case you say hi. I had myself muted for a moment because there's multiple pages and things coming up. So happy Monday. Happy More of You Monday. Been having some really interesting conversations, and this is going to be a quick video. So make sure you listen to the end of it. There's going to be a couple of gems for you here, I hope. But this is some really important information about connection that I've been getting some interesting awarenesses about. I've been having these conversations that have been really opening some beautiful doors for me and for the people that I care about, which, you know, is each and every one of you. Yes, I know. And so I want to make sure you have this information here. There are, let's say, at least 3 questions I want you to look at, maybe 4. Maybe we might get to 4 today. So make sure you make a note of this for yourself as you're listening to this. If you're here, take a moment and say hi. Go ahead and connect here and really be present with your body for a moment as you see me with my red today. My body was like, let's wear red. So yay, red. I was thinking about how we connect, how many of us connect and how many of us do not connect, and why we choose to connect in certain ways. What's really there. And somebody was talking with me about how this is a Black guy, and we were talking about going to a concert together and going to an event. And I was like, I really hope it's not all Black people or all white people or all Hispanic people. I actually, even just the idea at the time, I've already shifted it, which is so great. And this is one of the things I want to make sure that y'all know how to do if this comes up for you, is I immediately realized in my body that it was very uncomfortable for me to enter spaces like this when it's all of any one thing. And I'd acknowledge this in different ways over the years, but it was really brought to my attention in this conversation with this person. And so, and this is a Black guy, and he's like, well, I like going to events where it's a lot of all Black people, not because I don't like white people and Latino people and Indian people and all different kinds of Asian and all that. It's not that at all. It's that I feel that people then allow themselves to be fully themselves when they're with their group. And that made me really uncomfortable. And I realized for me, and there may be other reasons why that might make you uncomfortable, or maybe you're just like, yep, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. And it struck me because most of the people I interact with, they would agree with my friend. They would say, okay, you know, yeah, I'm really more comfortable when most of the people are the same educational status, that they've all gone to college with, or I am more comfortable with everybody who are kinksters and in a kink community, or I'm really more comfortable with people when they're all white or when they're all Mexican or whatever that is. And for me, from a very young age, I never fit into any of those groups. So no matter if it was all of anything, all Black, all white, all Hispanic, it wouldn't work for me because I never was enough of the Black enough or white enough or Hispanic enough in the way that they wanted me to be. Even when it's all women, I'm like, I'm very much have a female body and identify as a woman, have female pronouns. And yet I'm like, why don't we have more guys here? I would like to have some guys here too. Maybe it's this acknowledgement of that. Yes, I'm a woman and I have a female body, but I also function in a lot of ways like a guy. And I find communicating with them really easy and fun too. And I like the mix, because then a lot of women will then tell me, oh, well, as a woman, blah, 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 blah. And as a woman, this and this. And and a lot of that stuff doesn't apply to me. So then once again, the group would tell me how I was supposed to be. And most of the time, I'm not what most people think I'm supposed to be. Who can relate? Can anybody relate to here about this? If you can relate, say I can relate in the chat. And it may be in one of the examples that I mentioned, maybe just in a couple of them, in whatever way. It's like, I can relate, put it in the chat. I can relate to that. And so what struck me in this conversation was, oh, this has probably been affecting my business, because I've been functioning from the idea that everyone would find it a lot more comfortable to have a diverse group of people. And everybody would like to have different perspectives. And everybody would like to have more. Not everyone wants more. Not everyone wants different perspectives. Maybe they just want validation on what they already believe. Even for people who might agree with me on certain things, I love it when I meet people that don't also have the exact same experience and agree with me, because then it makes me actually look at my experience and look at if it's all actually as true as I thought. It invites self-reflection. It invites growth, to be around different perspectives, to play around people who have had different cultural traditions, and they play with different languages, all of that. I just love it. You all know this, and yet I'm recognizing that this may be in a blind spot for me that is affected then my ability to connect with people. And so for each of us, it could be the other way, where maybe your blind spot is that you think that everybody would want to be more comfortable with the same group of people. And then that kind of limits who you interact with. Like if I only interacted with white people, if I only interacted with queer people, if I only interacted with people who are in education, whatever group, race, affiliation, then it's cutting off my ability to then create connection for personal reasons, for relationships, for professional reasons, when I want clients, when I'd like referrals. It's blocking that in some way. And I don't know about y'all, let me know, like, do you want to block who you can connect with? Do you want to limit what's possible and how much you could receive from people? Like, I get that the people in our expansive energies group, they're people that would like different perspectives. They want different energies. They would like to expand their world. They want to connect in different ways. And maybe that's why that's not for everybody. And I'm like, okay, so I have to look at this. So are there groups that I need to create where it's more of a niche, where it's more around certain identities, and then meeting you all where you're at in that identity, and then maybe inviting you to expand beyond it when you're ready? I'm asking questions. This is one of those things. It's like, it's really shaken things up for me, because I always knew that a lot of the people around me liked, okay, being around the people that have their certain identities. And yet I didn't get, you get it when you get it, right? I didn't get how that was really counter and almost opposite to how I function, and how that may affect how people can connect with me. Because a lot of times I wouldn't then choose to say, oh, hey girl, and connect woman to woman. I would want to connect person to person. And that person was really asking for me to connect as a woman to a woman. Or if someone's an educator, I would like, oh yeah, you're an educator too, and you work with kids, and okay, cool. But I would acknowledge that, and I would really quickly, maybe quicker than they wanted, move to, and then what do you like to do for fun? And then what do you like to do out of work? Because I want to know them as a person and not just as a teacher. And people would want to commiserate about school systems and about the bureaucracy and the paperwork. And I was like, no, I get that. We have that. And I want to move past that. And that's my speed. But it's also, I have to look at, that's not everyone's speed. That's not the way that they'd like to connect. And so the rhythm and the speed in which we connect is influenced by other people's perspectives, their points of views, and what they value when it comes to connection. So this is to say, let's look at this. So what if we actually looked at how we were connecting and looking at what are we using to connect? Are we using an identity? Are we using a group affiliation? Are we using race and ethnicity? Are we using a professional association of some kind, socioeconomic status to connect? And what else? Like how are the other ways that we could connect that maybe we haven't considered before, that would shake up our worlds potentially a little bit, would make us a little uncomfortable at first, but then with practice, we can actually be more comfortable with it. And I'm going to do this for myself, like, because for me, yes, my preference is a lot of different kind of people with a lot of different backgrounds. And in the last couple of weeks, I have been very consciously choosing to put myself in positions where I'm in groups of people where it's all of one group, and I'm changing it. It's all Black people, and then it's been all white people, which I've had a ton of experience with being in academia and often being the only person of color anyway. But it's being more of me choosing it versus that's what I have to do if I want to do this activity or go to this place, right? Oh, being around parents, a lot of parents, and it's everybody has kids and I don't, but I work with kids, right? So looking at that and seeing how I can build connection and how I can meet people where they are and look at how they like to connect, and then going from there. It's like, okay, this is a dance, instead of coming in with the lens that I had been functioning from. And I love that as we're getting more and more of ourselves, we learn all of the lenses that we're seeing the world through. I've gotten rid of a lot of different lenses over the years. I look forward to getting rid of even more. And this is one of them. I'm like, okay, let's move that along, move this and see. So it may be that you're going from, okay, everybody's the same that I'm interacting with, to let's add in a lot more diversity. So maybe you've been really chaotic with who you've been interacting with, like I have been, and I love the chaos of it. And maybe every once in a while throwing in those moments of, let's do this group. Like, oh, I've been interacting with more entrepreneurs. So if I go into a space and everybody's an entrepreneur, am I willing to go to those spaces? And I remembered when I wasn't before, that would then resist, that was creating a resistance in me to then for me to be truly an entrepreneur and own that as one of many things that I am, develop it and really see the progress and development in that particular skill set. So we're not really willing to embrace each of all those different things and also recognize that we are beyond all of it, that they don't have to define us. We get to have more of us. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. If you're excited, go ahead and say, I am too, in the chat. If you can relate to anything that I'm talking about, go ahead and say, I can relate in here. Share this video, please, with anybody that you think that would benefit from it. You'll have to invite people to the private group for them to be able to see the video, but go ahead and tag them below so they can get this. And maybe we'll have even more people that go beyond definition, but are still actually able to have connections in these really beautiful, nuanced ways. What would that be like? All right, until next time, y'all. Bye for now.